This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2078. The 5 Biggest Millionaire Regrets, Part 1, by ESI of ESI Money.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now, I have a bit of a longer post. I'll read the first half today and then finish the rest for you tomorrow. So let's dive into the first half and start optimizing your life. The 5 Biggest Millionaire Regrets, Part 1, by ESI of ESImoney.com. Quote, "Regrets. I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention." Frank Sinatra. Wealthy people have no regrets, right? Ha! That's often the perception, that because someone has amassed a large net worth, life must have been and will be a bed of roses. No. If you thought wealth made life all rainbows and butterflies, this post might be a shocker. Today, I want to share the biggest regrets millionaires have. In my millionaire interviews, I asked them if they could go back and do it all over again, what they would do differently. Today, we have their responses summarized into the top 5 millionaire regrets. Just to note, this post is similar to the millionaire mistakes we've covered in the past. The difference is that these mistakes are things millionaires did and wish they hadn't done. This post will list things millionaires didn't do and wish they had. As I've done in other millionaire updates, I'll let them explain in their own words and add my thoughts after each point. Let's get started. Number 1, save more earlier. By far, this is the most frequent response. Millionaires wish they had saved more money earlier in life. Here's what they had to say on this subject. Millionaire 40, quote, "I would have saved more as soon as I graduated from college, and I would have invested entirely in index funds. Additionally, I would have purchased a duplex or quad to initially live in, which would have become a solid long-term investment," end quote. Millionaire 48, quote, "I wish I could have maxed out my Roth IRAs as soon as I had a job in my early 20s, end quote. Millionaire 49, quote, "I would have started investing in an IRA as early as possible. Even though it was only $2,000 maximum contribution for the longest time, it still would have compounded and grown. I waited until my 40s to start contributing to tax-deferred investment accounts, which is stupid. Fortunately, the majority of our liquid net worth is in a taxable account, so there are no tax penalties when we need cash in early retirement. I won't tap the IRA for a long time," end quote. Millionaire 50, quote, "We would have saved more and started earlier. We would not have panicked when the market crashed. We would have invested more during the crash. I probably would have been much wealthier without my flying addiction, but it's my passion. I didn't go as nuts as I could have on the flying costs, but I probably should have recruited co-owners with my first 3 of 5 airplanes long ago, which I've done for the past 12 years on the latest 2, end quote. Millionaire 70, quote, "From age 23 to 33, I did save diligently in my 401k, but did not necessarily fully fund it, and then would take out 401k loans for big expenses or to pay off bills. Those early withdrawal or loan penalties seemed like nothing at the time. It was such a miss to not understand savings and compounding early on. Time is the most important thing in the context of money, and I lost or blew 10 years of time and money. I can only imagine what good financial shape I'd be in if I had used those 10 years wisely. I'd also avoid credit cards and cash advances and high interest rates like the plague if I could go back. They really drug me down and kept me down for longer than I should have let them. I clearly had spending and discipline issues, even though I always made good money, but for some reason it was never enough. Now I only use credit cards for big purchases so I can get my points and then I pay the balance off pretty much immediately," end quote. And Millionaire 84, quote, "Like many people, we should have saved more at an earlier age," end quote. I can relate to this as it's one of my biggest regrets as well. For many, not saving early or saving enough early can be an almost fatal money move. It sacrifices years or even decades of compounding, something which can drive wealth at almost any income level. To give that up is a big, big regret. So I get it, for sure. That said, kudos goes to these millionaires for seeing the errors of their ways, making changes, and ending up wealthy in the end. Number 2, missing career opportunities. Now we leave the save arena and enter the earn world. Turns out that millionaires have regrets about their careers, despite the fact that they've had wildly successful careers. The following comments summarize most of their sentiments. Millionaire 38, quote, I think about this frequently. A lot of people tell me I missed my calling in life and should have been a doctor. I would seriously consider going to med school if I had to do it over, end quote. And Millionaire 84, quote, I should have been more open to changing jobs rather than being loyal to companies that didn't return the loyalty. When our boys were expanding their math skills, one commented how I survived over 100% layoffs during the previous couple of years. And he was right, end quote. A couple of thoughts here. I'm not sure I would have chosen a different profession if I had to do it all over again. I enjoyed business and doubt I could find something I liked better. And changing jobs or companies, asking for more raises, learning what it took to grow my career earlier in life, I have regrets about all of these. Yes, I did average over 8% annual income increases throughout my career. But if I had done more, I think that could have earned much higher gains, which would have put me at financial independence much sooner. I suspect that many hearing this have career regrets as well. Number 3, hear that on tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled The 5 Biggest Millionaire Regrets by ESI of ESImoney.com. I'm not surprised that most millionaires wish they would have started earlier. I don't have many regrets, but this is definitely one of mine. It's the main reason why I try to help college students understand the power of compound interest. But to my disappointment, most of them roll their eyes at me. Of all the variables that affect your portfolio's performance, time in the market is the single most important factor. The more time you have to let your money grow and compound, the more wealth you'll build. But this requires patience, and it's why I believe that long-term investing is the way to go. While you have to have patience in letting your money grow, you also need a sense of urgency to start investing now. Compound interest is a beast when it comes to growing your wealth, and the best way to harness that beast is by putting it to work as soon as possible. I know when I was younger, I figured I'd start saving for retirement when I was making more money, but I didn't realize that a small amount of money invested very young can be even more powerful than a much larger amount invested later. Here's a fun way to visualize compound interest. Let's say there's a lily pad on a pond that doubles in size every day. By day 30, it will completely cover the pond. On what day does the lily pad cover half the pond? Many people will say day 15, but when you understand compound interest, you'll know that the lily pad will cover half the pond on day 29, and then the whole pond on day 30. This is why most of us will spend a lot of time saving our first $100,000, but it's going to get significantly easier and take less time for each subsequent $100,000. Compound interest is our friend, so don't delay and start investing today. Well, that should do it for today. Have a happy rest of your day, and I'll see you on the Thursday show tomorrow, where we'll finish up this post and where your optimal life awaits.